Hi guys, JP from FSiPanel. Welcome to this quick tutorial where I will show you how you can finally take snapshot on your Fenix A320 using FSiPanel 2020 Advanced Edition. We can take snapshot when the aircraft is parked, just like now in Zurich, or when the aircraft is ready for departure on the runway with engines running. So for this first tutorial, I will show you how to create your snapshot for a flight from Zurich to Geneva. So we'll program the standard routing, and that will allow you to save the snapshot, to reload it, and to fly this flight as many times as you like with a quick setup. And the good thing is that you can share as well your snapshot with the community. So feel free to share your snapshot, and you can use for that FSiPanel forum. You can as well save your snapshot in kilogram and share it with another pilot flying in pounds. There is no issue, but for that you have to look at the tutorial that we will do together today. Make sure to pay attention as there is some very important stuff and traps not to fall into. So make sure you follow that tutorial completely if you want to be able to make very nice snapshots. All right, let's jump in the cockpit. Before I forget, please subscribe to the channel. That will help me making more and more video for you. All right, let's go in the cockpit. Okay, we are in the cockpit of the Fenix A320, as you can see, cold and dark. And here we are going to make a snapshot when we are ready for pushback. So the first thing to do is to power up the aircraft. So as we might have some time on the ground, I will use the panel states on GPU. So let's select the correct panel state from there, and now the aircraft is waking up. So we just have to wait for the aircraft to be awake, and then we will be able to start FSiPanel and to start our snapshot. So let me start FSiPanel now. All right, here we are in FSiPanel. The first thing to check, as always, is that the correct airport has been detected. Here we are sitting in Zurich. So that's correct, and I will depart from runway 28, so I can change the runway to runway 28. Make sure you see the Fenix A320 as the active aircraft. That's fine. And now we are going to click on Take Snapshot. You can see that Take Snapshot and Load Snapshot buttons are not grayed out anymore. That's the good news. So let's click on Take Snapshot. When you do that, you will get that window. Do you want FSiPanel to preset your cockpit? What it is all about. Let me show you now the aircraft, the Fenix. We just loaded the Fenix, and as you can see, we have the lights to off. So basically it's the standard cockpit. If you use the preset, FSiPanel will basically set all the modes as they should be when you are sitting on ground just before your departure. So it's a good idea to use it. Anyway, at the end, you will have time to set the cockpit exactly as you like, including frequencies, lights, cockpit lighting before saving the snapshot. So here, just click on yes. So I'll do that and you will see what happened. So yes, and if we go in the cockpit, we won't see much as everything is almost set correctly by the panel states of the EFB. That's more relevant if you do a snapshot ready for departure. So you will see that in the next video, but it's very important that you follow that video carefully, as the second video will go much faster and with less detail. So if you jump directly to the other one, you might miss some very important information. All right, so now that this is done, let's go back to FSiPanel, and we have precise instructions what we have to do. So this is our snapshot window. You can see the instructions are right there. So profile, park selected, the cockpit initial setup has been done. And now we have to set our options. You can see that options, we have two options. The FCU altitude, which is the autopilot's altitude, initial clearance altitude on your SID. So that's the FCU altitude. In Zurich, we are flying the VBIT for whiskey, and the initial altitude is 5,000 feet. So I will set 5,000 feet. Then you have the other option, which is set correct QNH. So this is good to leave it enabled. If later on you want to use the same snapshot but with different weather, then the altimeter setting will be synchronized to meet the actual weather. So that's quite good to have it. So leave it on unless you really have some good reason to turn it off. All right, when this is done, now we will start programming the MCDU. And for that, please bear in mind with me, we have to be very precise, and I will show you how to do that. So I click on Start Recording. First thing you will see here is your training weight. So now FSiPanel will set the training weight for you. So here the units are, the unit is kilogram. But if you fly your Airbus and FSiPanel is set to pounds, then the figures you will see there will be in pounds. The good thing is, even if you record your snapshot in kilogram, you can share it with another pilot flying in pounds. No issue with that, and this is because of that window and the next step that I will show you once we program the MCDU. Sorry, I will just put 59 tons, and the fuel, let's take 6 tons for this short flight. And click OK. When we do that, then FSiPanel is doing now everything on your aircraft, resetting your MCDU, then is setting your Airbus fuel. Now you can see that FSiPanel is setting the zero fuel weight. Next, the FCU altitude. So that's the 7,000 feet, the 5,000 feet, that we should have. And we are back in the cockpit automatically once this is done. That window that you see now is the FSiPanel MCDU. So it will be topmost. It means it will always stay visible. If you have a multi-screen setup, it might be on another screen. So just drag it to your simulator window. And now what you want to see is something like that. So that you have your MCDU and the FSiPanel MCDU. From there, we are ready to start the setup. Here, please bear in mind with me, it's very important that you do not type anything on the Captain MCDU. We are going to type everything on the FSiPanel window, and all your keys will be saved. So that's very important. At some point, you need to check something in the MCDU. Use your first officer MCDU, but never use that keys. All right, so let's go ahead and program this flight to Geneva. We are sitting in Zurich. Before we go ahead, I want to talk about a little bit about the buttons that you can see on that window. We have the reset MCDU. So once you have a complete script and you screw it up for some reason, you could click on reset MCDU. Then the script will be deleted and the MCDU will be reset. Then we have test me. So at the end, when we are happy with our script, we can test it to make sure that everything runs properly before saving the snapshot. Done. When everything is okay, then this is the end of the setup. And finally, here on top, you have File, Load and Save. So that's a good thing when you finish your script, your flight, let's say from Zurich to Geneva, you can save it. So if you want later on to do another Zurich-Geneva flight, but maybe with different weight, then you could just reload directly the script without having to type the whole route again. All right, so let's go ahead and do that routing together. And you will see that there is a very important step. I will talk about it just after we finish this first page. So pay attention. We are going from Zurich to Geneva. So you can type in that either by hitting the keys like I'm doing now. You see my scratch pad. And then that goes onto the LS key one right. So I will use that key here. And you can see now that on the Fenix MCDU, FSiPanel has typed in LSZH/LSGG, and we can see it right there in the scratch pad. Now, if I want to put the flight number to FSI001, I could as well use my keyboard, FSI001. So there I use my keyboard. I don't need to use the keys. And I will put it on LS key 3 left. That's it. Now we're going to put a cost index of 50. That will go on 5 left. Be very careful when you do that. If you screw it up, then FSiPanel will set something wrong here, and you might have to start again, depending on what you're doing. Let me show you an example. Let's say we want to fly at 190, but for some reason I type in 190 and I put that on my LS key 6 left. So now I'm not happy with that. I wanted 170. So I can go onto my list here and just change the 190 by 170. That's it. Now this will remain 190, but when FSiPanel will program your MCDU, it will use this 170. So that's a way to do a quick correction if you have done a mistake, rather than starting all over again. All right, if you want to delete that line or any line, just select it and hit your delete key. Here, I'm happy with that, so I will leave it here. All right, so this is done. Now what I wanted to mention is if we go now to the right page, do not set those weights. Never do that. This is very important, guys. Do not set the weight here. Why? Because if you set the weight, then the MCDU will take some time when we select, for example, an SID to compute the altitude and so on. And then we might lose instructions when FSiPanel is reloading the snapshot. That's the first reason. Second reason is if you want to share your snapshot with a pilot that is not using the same unit as you, then that will not work. If I set here my zero fuel weight at, let's say, 125,000 pounds, and then I send my snapshot to someone flying in unit, 125,000 kilos are too much, and then it's gonna fail. So that's the reason, sorry. So FSiPanel will take care of the weight, so do not set anything here. You can set your alternate, for example, so I will put 2.5 tons right there on the LS key 4 left. That's it. But I will not set anything on the weight. Let's go ahead and continue the flight plan. So we use flight plan. We're gonna use Zurich, that's line 1L, departure, and I'm gonna use runway 28, and I want a VBIT for whiskey. So go up, VBIT for whiskey is right there. It's selected, and now I'll click on right 6 to insert. After that, we need to put the routing. So VBIT is the last waypoint of the SID. I don't see it on the first page here, so I will use up. Now I see VBIT, I will take it in the scratch pad, 5 left, and then I will go 5 right for the airways, and we are going to type in the airways. So the routing is Tango 50 to Rotos. So I'm gonna type in Rotos. That goes on one right, and then Zulu 669er, Zulu 669er on line LS key 2 left. That goes finally to Ulmes. That will go on LS key 2 right. My routing is there. I can insert it using LS key 6 right. Done. Now that this is done, I will put the arrival in Geneva. So LS key 6 left, 1 right for arrival. And we are doing an ILS 22, so that's the key 4 left. And the star, is the Ulmes 1 Romeo. So up key, up key, up key. And here it is on 5 left. Ulmes 1 Romeo is inserted. And finally, R6 to insert. My routing is done. So now if I want to check it, guys, do not use that MCDU. Go on your first officer MCDU and now start to look at your route. If you have any discontinuity or something you want to change, now you see you identified where you have to go, then you can go again back to the first one here, to the captain's side. Do not touch any of the keys there. Use the FSiPanel MCDU. All right, so now we've done the routing. I'm happy with it. I will do the performance. So let's click on performance. And now we need to compute the performance. So for that, we can use the EFB. So I'll do it in quick forward for the setup. I don't want to measure time, so I'm just going to compute my performance just now. Here we go. Those are my performance. So 139, 140, 142. So let's put that 139, 140, 142, 139, 140, and 142. Done. Now my flaps, I think it's flaps 1, down 0.1. So let's go flaps 1 / down 0.1. That will go on the 3 right. Always be careful, double check which key you want to press to avoid having to do it all over again. And now the flex temperature, we have flex 65. Flex 65, that goes under 4 right. All right, now thrust reduction acceleration, we could use Captain Black Box website, which is beautiful for that figures. If you don't know it, let me show you that just now. All right, here we are in Captain Black Box 711 website. You can see the address on top here and on your screen. And now I will just type in Zurich. And when you do that, you get a very nice information screen there where you can see the acceleration altitude and thrust reduction. So right there, the thrust reduction is 2920, acceleration altitude 4420. So that's a very nice way to find the correct figures. And as well, what you will see there is we are departing on runway 28. So the one engine out acceleration altitude is 3,300 feet. So here we can get the information as well on the AOC engine out. So at 1.5 mile Cloten, proceed to radial 270 and so on. So this can be programmed as well on your MCDU. But for today tutorial, I will not do it just to save a bit of time. All right, let's go back in FSiPanel. So from the figures from Captain Black Box, we are going to put now the figures. So let's do that. So thrust reduction is 2920. So 2920, and the acceleration altitude is 4420. That will go under 5 left. And the engine out is 3,300 onto the right 5. All right, that's it. I've done my flight plan. I can even go into radio navigation and force Cloten on the VOR. So I will just put Kilo Lima Oscar on LSK 1 left. And I will select the right one, which is the first one on raise. And we have Cloten as a fix. All right, now my MCDU is done. So what we should do now is save it if you want to save it. So I will save it. Just save, and I will put tutorial Zurich Geneva 01, because then I could use that setup for the same scenario but starting from the runway. So I will use the MCDU that I just saved now to make another snapshot when the engines are running. So I save it here, done. And now we are going to test it. So before we say done, we want to make sure that everything is working properly. So we'll click on Test Me. When you do that, you get a warning. FSiPanel is about to delete all your MCDU and your setting. So yes, that's what we want because we want to check it. So let's click yes, and let's see what happened. So now the MCDU is deleted, and FSiPanel will start by setting the weight. So 6 tons of fuel, we had 59,000, so 59 tons, 0 fuel weight. And then FSiPanel will start to program the route. So you can see Zurich, Geneva, FSI 001, cost index, cruising at 170. Now it will set the departure, runway 28 Vebit, the routing. And this is in real time. So this is the way it will go on your computer when you load your snapshot. And finally, the arrival. And then we'll get the performance, speeds, flaps, flex to temp, and the acceleration and engine out acceleration. Cloten as well. And now at the end, you see that FSiPanel now is setting the weight. So that's to make sure everything works properly. It's doing it when you do Test Me. So now if we look into our cockpit, we can see that we have climb nav, 5,000 feet. Everything looks good. our MCDU works, so I can click on Done for the next step. So let's click Done. And when we do that, we go back into FSiPanel to check what we have to do now. Back in FSiPanel, you can see that we have programmed the MCDU. Enter a description for your snapshot. Finalize your cockpit setup as desired. Radio, lights, cockpit lighting, anything you want. And click on Save Snapshot. So here, I will just put, as a description, I will put tutorial Zurich, Geneva. And before clicking Save Snapshot, I will make sure that I have all my switches radio as I like. So let's go back to the simulator and check everything. For example, now the default range of my navigation display is 20. Let's put 10. So you will see that FSiPanel reloads it correctly. On the first officer, let's put 40. Now, what else can we set? I will just have a look on the overhead panel. And let's play a little bit around and let's put a few pumps on. This is just for the purposes of the demonstration, just to show you that FSiPanel is basically saving your cockpit as you like. For the lights, let's play around and put the runway turn on lights on, and I will put the seatbelts off. Sorry, the non-smoking to off, and the seatbelt sign, we can put it on, just again to check what FSiPanel is doing. Then we go down here. What I will do, I will as well listen to the PA. And what I will do here, I will set the score to 3216. And finally, the radio. So we are about to depart Zurich. So I need to set up the clearance delivery and apron. So let me check the frequency. So 121930. So I will set 121930, and then for pushback 121755, which is the apron. Finally here I will set 1215, the guard frequency, and let's put 12345 here in case you use the artist from FSiPanel on the scenario. So 12345 is set. So basically check all your cockpits the way you like it, and when you're happy with the cockpit, then go back to FSiPanel and save it. So let's do that now. Last step, click on Save to save the snapshot. So let's do that now. I'm going to click on Save. And you can see that FSiPanel is now retrieving and saving your cockpit switches. It will take around 20 to 30 seconds. So during that time, just wait. FSiPanel is looking at all your cockpit to save it properly. Once done, you will get a confirmation that the snapshot is saved. Here we go. Snapshot added to your database. Then the snapshot is available. I click OK, and my snapshot is done. So let me now reload the simulator, and I will see you immediately. I just pause the video and I see you when the Airbus is again in Zurich without any setting, and we will see how we can reload that scenario now. All right, here we are. The simulator has reloaded. I'm in Zurich now on gate Alpha 9. I changed even the gate, that doesn't matter. And we are going to put our aircraft under the external power. So always do that when you want to use FSiPanel. Make sure your aircraft is powered. So we are going to use again the external power. And the aircraft is now waking up. Perfect. All right. So now I will show you that I can even restart FSiPanel, and you will see how to reload the snapshot. As you can see here, the aircraft is not set at all. We have our range to 20, and we set it to 10. And here we put 40 as the demonstration. The pumps were as well, we mixed it up a little bit. So we will see that. And the radio frequency, we had the scope code, we have the correct frequency there. So it remember from the last time. So what I will do, I will change the frequencies to whatever is available there, just to show you that FSiPanel is reloading everything properly. So let's change all the frequencies, and that's it. All right. So now the aircraft is ready. I will start FSiPanel. Here we go. FSiPanel is there. Let's just make sure again that I'm in Zurich. runway 32 doesn't matter unless you want to come back to Zurich for a landing and you want a landing report. So if you want to be correct, just put 28. It's not mandatory at all. Make sure you have your Fenix A320, and now we are going to click on Load Snapshot. So when you do that, you get a list of your snapshots. Important to remember here that only snapshots that are saved for the airport where the aircraft is standing will display. This is to avoid having a lot of snapshots in the list. So if you load your aircraft in Zurich like now and you have a snapshot in Zurich, then it will show up. As well, it is a parked snapshot. The aircraft was parked, engine off. So if you have snapshot where the aircraft is supposed to be engine running, then they will not be shown as well, just to save some space and to have really the snapshot you want to use for the actual situation. So on that window, what you can see there is all the snapshots. You have the possibility to delete the snapshot if you're not happy with it, to export it. So if you export the snapshot, just like this, I can give a name, tutorial snapshot. And what I can do is put it as well on the section down below so you can see it by yourself and use it on your computer. So tutorial snapshot, Zurich to Geneva, saved. Now the snapshot is saved and I can export it by zipping it with a description, for example, for the next guys, or just put it on the FSiPanel forum. And then to use it, you just need to drag and drop it over FSiPanel main window, anywhere you want near the runway, and then it will be right away imported in your database. Next option, load panel state. So this is what we will do now. So our aircraft right now doesn't have any weight set, doesn't have anything set. So let's see if we can reload our snapshot. So click on load panel state. Let's go in the cockpit and see what's happening. So first thing first, FSiPanel will reset the MCDU to make sure we are starting from scratch. Then the weight will be set. So 6 tons of fuel. We had 59,000 kilograms as zero fuel weight. And then it will go ahead with the flight plan. So let's see now. We have Zurich, Geneva. We're going to have the FSI 001, the cost index, flight level 170. We're going to get the 2.5 here for the alternate departure, the routing. Ilmes. Then we're going to have the arrival. After that, we have the performance. And at the end, FSiPanel will set the weight. This is to allow you to share again the snapshot with someone with other units. So that's why we never set the weight. And now FSiPanel is doing that for us. And we will go back into the perf page for the takeoff. Then it will set the cockpit. As you can see, our lights and the pumps are alternate as we did to play around. We had the runway turn on light on. So I'll turn it off now. We had, if you remember, the non-smoking light off. And then we played a little bit here with the Squawk 3216 that was set. I was listening to the PA. And what else? The frequency 121.930, 121.755. And we have 1215, and we have we should have 2345. I don't know why I didn't pick it up. So not a big deal. I will check that. So you can see that basically we are now ready to fly. Clam, nav. The QNH has been set and our routing is inserted. So basically you are clear to go and fly your Zurich Geneva flight. That's how to save, share, and reload a cockpit snapshot on the Fenix A320 from a parked position. The next video is from a takeoff position, and we'll be using the same MCDU script that we've just done. So it goes very fast to do that. One thing, always check that video first, get used to it, and then the second one will go very, very fast. Okay, guys, thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you have any question or comment about this new feature, please write it down in the section below, description below, and I will be very pleased to answer. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. And please subscribe to the channel. Bye-bye. Thank you.